I have some exciting announcements to make. I'm really excited about what's going on. So let me bring you up to speed and let you know what's going on with yogasimon. All right, I have started the year with a really exciting project called Revolve. You may have seen some pictures and some information about it. As it is described, a journey around the sun, 12 revolutionary masterclasses to help you evolve your yoga practice. Okay, now I know that kind of comes on strong, but I'm just hoping it makes you curious. I do believe in what is written there. In fact, yes, I do believe that this is a powerful, transformative experience that can really affect you deeply. Yeah, let me tell you all about it. Basically, that's one of the things I will be discussing more later, but yeah, I would like to tell you more about the platform, the online platform, and about the teacher trainings. But let's start with Revolve. So this idea kind of grew out of the urge, out of the desire to find a way to share so much. That's all I can say. You know, I've discovered over the years of study that there is so much to this work. I have studied and I have been so inspired by what I've learned, and then I find myself wanting to share it, right? But not in a way that is fragmented, little bits of information here, a little bit of information there. No, I really want to share what I've learned, what has affected me, what has transformed me, what has uplifted me, what has liberated me, if I may say so. This work is powerful. That's why I keep doing it. And this work is wonderful. That's why I love it. Okay, so in designing teacher trainings, for example, you know, I'm looking for a way to teach this body of work that fascinates me and that I am so immersed in. And yeah, my teacher trainings have been and remain modular, which means, you know, one may study one aspect of the work during one module and another aspect of the work during another module. It's going to have to stay that way. But why I'm excited about Revolve is because Revolve is a project that, firstly, it's not a teacher training. Revolve is open. It is available to everyone. And at the same time, it is deep. And what's important to me is that I really want to serve, you know, students, colleagues, friends, anyone who's interested and curious in this work and wants to dive into it. And not everyone is interested in doing a teacher training, let's face it, right? So Revolve is open for everyone. It is, in my opinion, a great way to meet the work. It is a great way to experience the work. And you may be interested in teacher training after you've explored Revolve, but you might just do Revolve as an immersion, as a way of deepening your practice. So, what exactly is Revolve? One journey around the sun, 12 revolutionary masterclasses to evolve your yoga practice. One masterclass released on the first day of the month, every month for a year. Okay, that's the container. Within that, let me just say there's some flexibility. You don't have to do the whole year. I invite people to do a season or just a singular masterclass, just 1 month. It's all possible. All right, let's leave this open. Now, what's important about this is that I've labeled these masterclasses, for example, January, which was launched on the 1st of January, is called the Early Winter Masterclass. Now, this should give you a clue what this is all about. The next masterclass in February will be called the Midwinter Masterclass, and the next one will be the Late Winter Masterclass. So we're going to go through the whole year, dividing the 4 seasons into early, mid, and late season. What's important about this is that it relates so intimately, so closely to the essential teachings of the Vinyasa philosophy, which is a philosophy that is essential to the practice of flow and that is very much unknown or misunderstood. The essence of this is that we practice yoga in relationship to where we are in the year, the season, what's going on in our lives. And that gets more and more intimate until you refine your self-practice to such a degree that your self-practice is a reflection of what's going on in your life at that moment, that you actually are able to tweak your self-practice so that it is relevant. Now just consider for a moment how different this is to the ideology and the practice of, well, a lot of people just do the same thing every time, or pretty much the same thing. Of course, you have practices such as Ashtanga Yoga, where they absolutely are into repeating the same thing every time. That's just a different practice, and they are giving expression to a different philosophy, which is, well, what can we say about it? I mean, let's compare it to mantra. Mantra is also about the power of repetition. It's not all bad. It's wonderful. There's something in it. You could do the same thing every time, but it's not what I do. I'm sharing this with you. I'm inviting you to explore the magic and the buffet. When I say the buffet, I mean there's a lot on the table. We are curious souls. We are adventurous. We are spoiled because we live in this age, this wonderful age of abundance where there is so much. And you also don't go to Netflix and watch the same thing every time. You watch something different. We like Facebook and social media because there's always fresh news. Old news is no longer interesting. So, it belongs to us. It's not bad. Don't criticize yourself for it. Don't beat yourself up for it, right? The definition of spirituality is not necessarily to be able to repeat the same thing every time. Explore. Be curious. It's allowed. Okay, so here you go. Revolve. One practice per month, exploring the relationship between yoga and the seasons, right? And how we modulate and how we shift, how we let the practice respond to a specific moment. Now, some aspects of what we're dealing with here, which is why I say the Revolve project can contain so much. Two very important aspects of yoga and of my work, my studies, and now my own trainings that I'm offering are to divide yoga into a solar and a lunar pathway. Just to acknowledge that there are these two pathways. And for those of you who don't know the terminology, solar and lunar, what is more well known is the terminology yang and yin. So that is absolutely at the heart of my work. I have continued, the work that I've studied and now that flows through me and that I now offer is that I'm offering in these two ways, which is, these are two pathways. The solar pathway, and my own work I call Radiant Flow, is the solar pathway of igniting, exhilarating work that moves energy and connects you to your vitality and your potency, right? It is challenging work, and it is work that invites us to enjoy the adventure of yoga and move into some pretty challenging poses. It ignites us. It turns up your volume. Okay. Having said that, I don't want to make it sound as if the radiant or solar pathway needs to be sort of calisthenic or acrobatic or cardio. Depending on how much you know about it, depending on how deeply you explore this work, it can be, very nourishing, and there is room for much depth because the more you study, the more you layer, and you're able to incorporate into your practice, into your teaching, what you know about working with the chakras, working with the elements, and many other layers that belong to this wonderful work that is yoga. So let's talk about the other pathway, which is the yin quality or lunar quality. And I have called my teachings Shanti Flow. Shanti meaning peace, and Shanti Flow, well, it speaks for itself. Peace doesn't necessarily have to mean doing nothing. Peace can be fluid, peace can be graceful, peace can be dynamic, expressive, right? There is peaceful stillness, there is also peaceful action. So, what's important about this cycle of 12 masterclasses is that we're able to respond in each moment, respond to each season, and I'm offering a practice that, to the best of my ability, I am designing. And this flows through me. So I firstly experience this in my own body, and then I feel, right, this is right, and then I can offer it. And all the layers that I've mentioned, whether they be the solar lunar pathway, the incorporation of the chakras, the integrating of the working with the 5 elements. This is where yoga and Ayurveda meet one another, is in this discourse about some of this, elements, chakras. And this is why yoga is so rich. Oh, let me not forget that, which is very important and for many people, I think, interesting, is the possibility in different masterclasses each month to dive into different pathways towards different peak poses, right? And again, poses chosen for their relevance to that moment in the year. And essentially, we're talking about something which I'm becoming more and more involved in, more and more fascinated by. That is embodiments. Now, I don't know how much you know about the word embodiment. I don't know what it speaks to you. But to embody, then the question, embody what? And so all of this that I've mentioned, all of these qualities that we can embody through the awakening and connecting to that which inside of us asks for more expression, right? Whether it be the connecting to the, let's take a chakra, for example. Let's take, for example, the Muladhara chakra, which is the base, the pelvic floor, which then is, connecting to that is inevitably, it's a connecting to the earth, right? So there you go. This gets rich very quickly. And so we go on. So a beautiful journey, 12 masterclasses, and what I'm offering is the opportunity for us to interact, and so that we actually go on this journey together. And that's where I'd like to tell you something about the online group, the Revolve online group. You obviously know my page because you're here, and this is my yogasimon page. And so I've created a group called the Revolve Online Study Group. It's not only for people who are doing Revolve, who are following these masterclasses, okay? It's for people who are curious. So please feel welcome to join Revolve Online Study Group, and that is the Revolve community. Certainly, it focuses on the Revolve project because the Revolve project is a showcase for all of my work. And, so in that way, I think people who are interested, whether they be interested in an aspect of the work or in the whole body of work, Revolve is a great way to get a taste of the work. So what we're doing every month in the Revolve online group is I'll be sharing a talk. There will be guided meditations, and there will be discussion. And I'm inviting people who are interested, but definitely people who are actually following these masterclasses to share their experiences, to share their questions. Let's open up the discussion, right? Something that I've been known to say, I say this during teacher trainings, for example, quite often, is that the yoga world has become a very quiet place. It's like, people just don't ask a lot of questions. And I mean, I say that because I go and I teach yoga. People come, they do the yoga, and then they go. And, you got to ask yourself, where's the space for discussion? This is a very rich and very deep practice we call yoga, which is also philosophical or spiritual. And, you're free to, take some parts of philosophy or spirituality or leave them out. That's the freedom of yoga. You relate to that which speaks to you. Beautiful. But it doesn't mean that it's not there. It might not speak to you, but it's still there. Okay, so explore in order to find out what does speak to you and what doesn't speak to you. So ask questions. Let's open up a wonderful platform for discussion, which is the Revolve online community. We've kicked off with the project on the 1st of January, but that doesn't mean that you've missed anything. because you can step in. It just means you missed the launch of the January or the early winter masterclass on the 1st of January, but it's online. If you register, if you sign up, you'll be able to do the early winter masterclass and hopefully get excited about the midwinter masterclass. Am I going to say anything about the midwinter masterclass and how the practice is going to evolve, transform, shift as we move into the midwinter? I don't know if I want to give too much away, but it's pretty obvious. They call it midwinter, which means we're in the depths of winter. So let's just go deeper. All right. What else would I love to tell you? I would love to tell you something about what Yoga Simon essentially has become. You know, I'm definitely not Yoga Simon. I'm Simon. And my Facebook page ended up being called Yoga Simon. That happened in like 2012 when I got a Facebook page and I had to call it something. And I thought, well, you know, better not give it like some long Sanskrit name that no one can remember. Keep this simple. Call it Yoga Simon. People will be able to find it. People will remember it very easily. So there you go. And then Yoga Simon became my website. But essentially, you know, what is this? Yoga Simon has become a platform for my teachings. I am a teacher trainer and I offer teacher trainings. And so this is a platform for the teaching of what? For the sharing of what? For the sharing of a body of work, a beautiful body of work, essentially about flow-based practice, diving deeper into the solar and the lunar aspect of flow-based practice. This is all now being offered up to the teacher training level and certification level, where we have a 100-hour certification program, you know, for people interested to dive into the solar radiant flow teachings, and a 100-hour program for people wanting to deepen their understanding, integration, embodiment of the lunar flow-based teachings. Very important, because when I say lunar flow-based teachings, I'm actually saying flow-based practices that are yin in quality. And let's face it, generally people who are looking for the yin quality or the restorative quality end up doing a kind of yoga where there ain't no flow, right? I can tell you for sure, because I've spoken to enough people about this, that they cannot even imagine how you could possibly do a yin kind of yoga in a flow way. So this work is delicious. What can I say? Shanti Flow is delicious. I'm sorry. It's the right word. It is beautiful. It is organic. It is intuitive. It is sensual. It is fluid, and it is nourishing. So yeah, absolutely delighted to be offering Shanti Flow. And in terms of announcements, to say that, you know, it's been very exciting taking Shanti Flow to the 100-hour level. The Shanti Flow pathway of lunar flow-based practice existed as a 50-hour program which focused on slow flow and gentle vinyasa. So really moving into softness within classical asana-based yoga practice. And now the new module, which is complementary to the first one, is diving deeper into softness and sweetness, and is an exploration of the yin quality, the absolute yin quality, and I call it Inflow Yoga. This is the third level, if you like, of Shanti Flow, which is diving into the yin quality. It is so close to the earth, it is so soft and tender, but it is breath and movement inspired. So there is fluidity, and that fluidity feels like as if you are massaging your organs and your fascia. It is quite delightful. Yeah, it's taken about 7 or 8 years of research and practice to develop it, based on teachings that I had received and that I then felt I needed to develop further and articulate and refine. It is a little bit like that Frank Sinatra song, I Did It My Way, and yeah, it is. But I'm not saying that I've invented everything. In fact, I'm building on the teachings that I've received. So Shanti Flow, beautiful. And the Radiant Flow teacher training is redesigned. let me tell you about the Radiant Flow teacher training for those of you who are more inclined towards the challenging and exciting and inspiring, exhilarating work. Those of you who like handstands and you like to rock it out and you want to work towards those exciting asanas. You want to deepen your practice, but you don't want to lie over a cushion. Well, Radiant Flow I'm redesigning. I'm not offering it the way I have been offering it until now. And I hope it's good news because the trainings, the modules become shorter. So what's important about that is I have heard from studios and from students that they would like shorter trainings. This is kind of in vogue at the moment. I don't know if it has to be with our shortening concentration span that belongs to the new millennium and the digital era, that we want everything to be short and sweet. But I've made my peace with it, although I resisted for quite some time. I've made my peace with it. I'm happy with the 25-hour training model. So what I do is I divide the Radiant Flow training into these 25-hour trainings. They are beautiful trainings. The script it has something in common with Revolve, in the sense that Revolve, the 12 masterclass cycle, is deep and integrated and multi-layered, right? So we're not pulling everything apart, but it's inclusive. Now, what's happening with the modules for the Radiant Flow teacher training is that each module focuses on a specific element, on a specific chakra, and on a specific sequencing pathway towards specific peak poses. Those peak poses then once again being related to that pathway, to that chakra, to that element. So it's multi-layered. And it's essentially a journey through the chakras, as well as a journey through the 5 elements, as well as a deepening of your asana practice, learning of new namaskars and peak poses. Now, I think one of the reasons why I'm able to accept and live with these shorter modules that I'm kind of being asked by studios and teachers and students to get involved and shorten my trainings to this 25-hour level. The reason why I'm confident that we can do this well, and that's really important for me, let's do stuff well or let's not do it at all, is because of the new development, the new technology. I have developed, the platform, the online platform where I upload online courses. And so students that do teacher trainings with me, I then can say to them, we've filmed certain parts of this teacher training. You can go and practice it at home. It's on the online platform. There's other content that I've uploaded to the online platform, which I can give you so that you can go home and practice. I give assignments, then we have Zoom sessions, I give evaluations. So, there's online groups like the Revolve group. So there's so much possibility for interaction and for me to offer ongoing supports. That is so important for me. I don't really believe in the short and sweet teacher training. I went to Bali, I did it, and now I got it. I believe in lifelong learning. It's my personal experience. I've been studying for quite some time, and I plan to keep studying forever. It seems yoga is truly the 1,000-petaled lotus. It just keeps opening. There is so much to be discovered. It's never over. And so I would like to facilitate that ongoing lifelong learning. I would like to be there to offer students support after the teacher training, after the days that we spent together in the studio. And this is happening, beautiful through students interacting, enjoying the content that I upload onto the online platform, and students just basically reaching out. Something that I really encourage. If you've studied with me, you've heard me say it. As I said earlier today, not enough people asking questions in the yoga world. So not enough discussion, not enough discourse. And I know, I've been asked by studios, I've been asked by studio owners, Simon, don't talk too much during the yoga class. Students just want to do the yoga and then they want to go home. So I accept it, but that perhaps belongs to the yoga class. Fine, it is what it is. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop looking for the appropriate situation where we can host the discussion, because the discussion needs to be had. There needs to be space for people to ask questions and to get answers. And I just want to support you guys in, deepening your journey into this wonderful work called yoga, which, you know, yoga is at this moment in time in a very tricky place. That's what happens when stuff gets commercialized. There's a lot of quantity, but I have some questions, as do many people, have some questions about the quality. So doing lots of yoga, if you are a student who does lots of yoga, well, lots of quantity, but what about lots of quality? I don't want to insult anyone's yoga, but I'm just encouraging students to dive in, go deeper, ask questions, explore. There are jewels. Yoga is full of secrets, and it might not sound like the right word, but it's just that it's a journey and it reveals itself from the inside, and there are techniques. That is, in essence, what this is. Yoga gives us the tools we use to discover the inner jewels, and the inner secrets are revealed. That itself is the inner practice, which supports the outer practice. And that stuff is hard to explain in a regular class, specifically in an open form kind of studio, where students can go and freely attend any class they want to. So there's a lot of coming and going, and that journey into depth requires more structure. So I think it's all good. It just is what it is. Students come to classes which are open, and they attend freely and enjoy, and at a certain point maybe you decide you actually want to study and you want to dive in, and then the trajectory or the actual journey deeper needs to be hosted and offered. And yeah, what can I say about that? Something very important I'd like to share with you, which is in essence what I'm doing. Just to say something about the teacher training that I'm developing, the pathway that I'm offering for people to dive in. I'm trying to offer this on multiple levels. So you'll notice also on the yogasimon platform, which I didn't say this yet, but yeah, just in the name of shameless self-promotion, the yogasimon platform, I'm referring, of course, to yogasimon.com. As I already said earlier, everything ended up being called yogasimon, and yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it works. So yeah, on the yogasimon platform, you'll be able to find, if you go and nose around, then you'll find courses. There's a course to dive deeper into Shanti Flow that I filmed and that I produced with Avi Kishna, a beautiful musician who composed music for it. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's a journey into Shanti Flow, because people are not all interested in teacher trainings. So like Revolve, also the courses, I want to be able to serve in such a way and offer for everybody interested, whether they be interested in teacher training or just interested in self-practice. But let's look at that a little closer. Are they that different? You're not that different. If you're just interested in self-practice, or someone else interested in becoming a teacher, how different are you? You're not different at all. To be interested in self-practice means you're interested in becoming a teacher, but your interest is primarily in teaching yourself. You still got to teach yourself. You still got to learn the tools. So, you start teaching yourself and then you teach someone else. But, the trainings are not that different. And in my teacher trainings, in the past, I've had in my teacher training groups of Radiant Flow trainings or Shanti Flow trainings, I had students who say to me, is it okay if I join? Because I'm just doing this for myself. I don't want to be a teacher. I say, of course it is. Yeah, of course. Because you actually are wanting to become a teacher. You're wanting to teach yourself. So this is an important thing, But I do try to offer courses that are really labeled that way, as a course which is open for everyone. So that, we're covering all our bases here. What I want to say, really importantly, just to contextualize the work, the way the work is developing, the way the work is growing, the way the work is being offered, I just want to say something really important about this, okay? And I'd like you to think about this if you're someone who's interested in deepening your skills as a teacher or for your personal self-practice, and certainly if you're interested in flow-based practice, because that's what I specialize in, that's what I'm passionate about, okay? What I want to point at here is that there are a lot of teacher trainings out there. You know, the market is full of teacher trainings. But I just want to say something that is, to me, very, very obvious. I know it's true, but I realize that not a lot of yoga students think about this. And I'm talking about people who are already enrolled in a teacher training. I talked to them and I realized they didn't get this, okay? Just think for a moment about teacher trainings and how traditionally or historically teacher trainings would always be a teacher training in a specific style of yoga. Okay, so you'd be studying Ashtanga yoga or Iyengar yoga or Hatha yoga, and you'd go to an Ashtanga yoga school or an Iyengar yoga school or a Hatha yoga school. That is all that there was. There were no other kind of teacher trainings. You know, this is the history of yoga. Is somewhat traditional, different sampradayas, different traditions, different legacies. So what we're dealing with now in the more modern yoga world is studios that sometimes, specifically big studios that host classes in many different styles, then offer a teacher training. The teacher training is not necessarily a teacher training of a specific style. It's a more modern approach. There may be many teachers involved in offering the teacher training. Teachers who then work for that yoga studio and are involved in helping to set up a teacher training for the studio. And the teachers may not even have all studied themselves at the same school, so therefore each of the teachers actually represents a different style. You know, you may have a teacher who studies Jivamukti yoga, offering something about pranayama, and another teacher who studied Iyengar yoga, offering something about asana. So in the end, if you study in this way, you are studying what is a mix of teachings from different traditions. It's very modern, and it works. It gives you a lot of information. But at the end, I think perhaps you notice that you're more interested in certain teachings than in others. And, you know, I started this way as well. I explored a whole lot of stuff, and eventually I decided to dive into energetic practice, energetic vinyasa practice. You know, my fascination was then really for embodied energetic practice, and I wanted to feel that connection to prana. And so I went off and studied, and I found my path. So what I'm offering, and it's important about, you know, my trainings, is there is one common underlying logic and sort of technique or technology that underlies all of the teachings that I'm offering. So it is cohesive and it is integrated. So if you have done a teacher training, your level 1 teacher training, 200-hour teacher training, or even if you've never done a teacher training and you're interested to dive in, I just want to say, you know, if you notice many different trainings being offered on the yogasimon platform, that you should know they're different trainings, but they're not that different, because, of course, this is something you'd really find out if you follow the trainings, that there is one underlying logic, one underlying technique, one understanding of working with the energy body, working with the breath, working with energetic alignment, which is the basis of energetic practice. And that underlies all of the different trainings, whether it be the solar yang pathway or the lunar yin pathway. Yeah, it's just two sides of the same coin. So super excited about what's going on. And basically, guys, I'm done. That was what I wanted to share with you. I just wanted to give you an update. Please take a look at the Revolve group. That's the online community for this exciting project called Revolve. And as I said, just to remind, you're invited to join the Revolve Facebook group, whether you're doing any of the online masterclasses or not. And there you can enjoy the lectures and you can enjoy what I'm sharing there. I will also be offering sneak peeks and early bird coupons for online courses, you know, kind of the tribe. So come on in. Take a look, of course, please, at the platform. It's growing very beautifully now and looking really nice. So it's in evolution. That is the YogaSimon platform on yogasimon.com. I'm just looking forward to a really exciting year. I'm looking forward to continuing my journey together with you on your journey. The students, many that I have known for many years, and many students that have done so many modules with me. And yeah, the excitement for me is just to be able now to carry the work and to be there for students who, you know, are interested in this idea of lifelong learning. Let's keep the discussion open, the dialogue, and let's evolve together. Stay tuned. Lots more to come. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Thank you for being here. Namaste. Oh, let me not forget. Sorry. Of course, there's the chat section, and you know, people writing questions there, and yeah, I have to take a look at all of that. Look, I love questions, so I love answering them, and I will. But I would prefer to pick the questions up and answer them inside of the Revolve community, the online group. Also, this idea of creating a safe space, a more enclosed space where we can talk openly. So let me take a look at what's come up. If people, you know, write questions here in the chat section here next to the film. But once again, come on over to the Revolve online study group if you want to dive in and let's journey together. Namaste.